The interview is one of the most important parts of the job search and your chance to shine. If you're lucky to have gotten an interview, you've gotten past the screening stage, and you may have beaten out hundreds of other candidates to get to this point. This is your opportunity to show the value you will bring to the organization and land the job. We'll begin with preparation, where I'll discuss the various types of interview formats and help you anticipate questions. I'll give you techniques that you can use to practice and best prepare for the interview. Next, we'll talk about how to confidently approach the actual interview. Making a good first impression, navigating difficult interviews, and getting your message across using effective body language. Finally, we'll talk about follow-up, where you assess your own performance, send thank yous, and respond appropriately to the employer's decision. You want to be the final candidate, and having a successful interview is one of the most crucial steps to finding your next job. So let's get started with acing your interview. The interview is one of the most important parts of the job search and your chance to shine. If you're lucky to have gotten an interview, you've gotten past the screening stage, and you may have beaten out hundreds of other candidates to get to this point. This is your opportunity to show the value you will bring to the organization and land the job. We'll begin with preparation, where I'll discuss the various types of interview formats and help you anticipate questions. I'll give you techniques that you can use to practice and best prepare for the interview. Next, we'll talk about how to confidently approach the actual interview. Making a good first impression, navigating difficult interviews, and getting your message across using effective body language. Finally, we'll talk about follow-up, where you assess your own performance, send thank yous, and respond appropriately to the employer's decision. You want to be the final candidate, and having a successful interview is one of the most crucial steps to finding your next job. So let's get started with acing your interview. We've provided free exercise files that are available to all lynda.com members to help you get the most from this course. These files include an interview tracking worksheet and a template for assessing your interview performance. Now let's get started. The first place to start in preparing for interviews is to understand the potential formats that employers will use to determine your fit within the organization. There are 4 common interview formats, and it often depends on the industry and function for which you are applying. The first format often used is the phone interview. This allows the employer to screen the candidate at a low-cost and time-effective manner. This technique is often used to narrow the pool of candidates for in-person interviews. It is also one of the more challenging formats because you can't see the reactions to your answers and you can be easily distracted. To be most successful in the phone interview, you should be sure to follow these 5 steps. Use a landline as they are less likely to be dropped. Turn off call waiting as a call coming in may distract you in the middle of an answer. Interview in a quiet space with limited distractions. Without visual clues, you will have to be careful to focus on the questions they are asking you. Enunciate and speak clearly. You may want to try smiling as you answer your questions. Your answers will come across more positively. Clarify any questions that you are unsure of the meaning. You don't have the body language to tell you when you are going in the wrong direction, so be sure to ask the interviewer if you've approached the question in the way they were looking for. The second format is the traditional in-person one-to-one interview. This allows employers to get to know you on an individual level and ask pertinent questions to their area of work. To be most successful in the in-person one-to-one interview, you need to focus on the nonverbal behaviors like eye contact, tone of voice, and body language. One study shows that 93% of your message is conveyed this way, and not in words, so it is very important in the interview. Body language will vary based on the country that you are interviewing in. For example, in some countries, eye contact is direct, and others it is not. Also, remember to dress the part. You want them to see you as a potential coworker. The third format is a panel or group interview. This format allows the employer to save time and also get multiple opinions that can lead to more valid and fair decisions about candidates. To be most successful in panel interviews, body language is still important. A few key points to remember include: make your introductions count, make eye contact, and use their names. Include quieter people into the conversation by asking their opinion. Remember, they are evaluating your interaction, so be sure to listen and engage where appropriate. You will want to make eye contact again with everyone at some point in the conversation. Finally, ask for business cards from everyone on the panel for proper follow-up. The final type of interview is the online video interview. It is similar to the in-person interview, but it allows the employer to cut down on travel and cost. You will want to follow the same advice and, in addition, these 3 steps. Test run the equipment before the interview. Arrive on video early so you can make any adjustments to lighting and appearance prior to the interviewer coming online. Use the in-picture mode so you know how you appear. Make sure your environment looks clean, professional, and there are no immediate distractions in the area. Now that you have a good understanding of the interview formats, you should check out the next movie to gain an understanding of the question types and how to prepare for them. How often have you been to an interview and been surprised by the questions you were asked? By understanding the 3 basic types of questions employers use, you can actually prepare for the interview and take away much of the anticipation. The first and most common are behavioral questions. The concept is to use your past behavior to predict future behavior. It will often take the form of "tell me about a time" or "give me an example" to allow you to draw upon your past experiences to show your skills and knowledge. The second type of question is a case or situational. The purpose is to evaluate problem-solving and analytical abilities. It will often take the form of "how would you" or "what would you do?" Your answer shows how you would approach a problem or work situation and allows them to see how you think on your feet. The third type is a resume-based question. The purpose is to gain more information on experiences you have highlighted and confirm the depth of your skills and knowledge. They'll ask you direct questions from your resume, so you'll need to be able to expand on it in detail. Knowing how questions will be asked is important as you prepare for the interview. In the next movie, we'll discuss anticipating what questions they'll ask. It is now time to prepare specific questions for your interview. Remember, the purpose of the interview for the organization is twofold: to assess your skills and knowledge and also determine the cultural fit. We'll analyze a job description and develop a list of specific questions you may get in the interview. The first step is to start by analyzing the job description for primary skills and knowledge. Look at the responsibilities and qualifications sections to analyze this information. Let's take a look at an example project manager description. The 4 items that would be most important to prepare for include leading multiple software development and integration projects in Agile, scoping projects and managing risk, estimates projects using multiple techniques, delivering them on time and on budget, mentors and guides people. The second step is more elusive in that you have to determine the culture and desired fit. Look for descriptive words related to culture. In this example, it would be can-do attitude, take charge of conference room, and unflappable. If there are not words related to culture in the description, then you may want to schedule an informational interview. You can now create sample questions based on the 3 types. Let's begin with the knowledge and skills. For example, a behavioral question would be give me an example of a project you have scoped and how have you managed the risk. A situation question would be walk us through how you would scope the project and manage the risk. And finally, a resume-based question. Your resume states you managed the Agile project successfully. Tell us more about it. You can also prepare questions for the cultural fit. In our example, they are looking for a can-do attitude and someone that is unflappable. They may ask a behavioral question like, give us an example of where you have pushed through an idea. Or a situational question like, how would you push through an idea at this organization? Or a resume-based question. You mentioned on your resume that you initiated a project. How did you do this? Now it is time to prepare answers for your sample questions. It's important to have good examples lined up to showcase your skills and knowledge for each of the responsibilities. Remember to be detailed in your answer. Use SAR as a way to prepare and make your answer stronger. Describe the situation, explain your action, and let them know the results. Although you can't anticipate every question, this will give you a strong starting point to prepare. In the next movie, we'll talk about effective techniques that you can use to practice. Practicing for the interview helps you feel confident and focused on the interviewer, not stressed out about what you're going to say. There are several options for you, from do-it-yourself to fee-based services. If you choose to do this on your own, you want to mirror an actual interview as closely as possible. Set up a space that is conducive to interviews, dress the part, and have a friend or family member play the part of the interviewer. You can also create flashcards that will allow you to shuffle them and be comfortable answering in any order. Be sure to record yourself so that you assess your body language and confidence as you answer the questions. This technique takes time and effort, but your practice will be designed specifically for your desired job. You may also want to consider the many online fee-based interview practice programs. They provide a pressure-free environment that will give you randomized questions with little work on your part. If you decide to go this route, you will want to find a program that can provide you questions based on your industry and role of interest. For example, JobJuice.com provides specific questions for the MBA market and recommends frameworks for responses. The disadvantage of fee-based services is that they don't provide you with specific questions based on the job you're after. Regardless of the method you choose, the more you practice, the better prepared you will be for the interview. Next, we'll focus on the appropriate questions you will ask to help convey your interest and suitability for the job. Up until now, we've been preparing for questions that the interviewer will be asking you. However, you'll also want to interview the company to make sure that it is the right organization and role for you. Asking questions not only confirms your interest in the company, but also can be used to make you stand out in the interview process. You'll want to demonstrate your knowledge of the organization and interest in the position. To develop your own list of questions, you should derive them from research you have done on the organization. You can start with our website, but go beyond this and find recent articles, talk to people in the organization, and check out profiles on LinkedIn for organizational structure. While you are researching, you'll want to prepare your questions. There are 5 categories of questions that I recommend you prepare. First, you should prepare a question to ask about the company. You want to demonstrate your interest, but you also want to confirm what you've learned about the company in your research. Second, you should have a question about the history of the position. By asking why the position is vacant, you will gain insight into the organization and the potential for advancement. Third, you should ask a question about the job responsibilities. This will allow them to see you in that role and help you gain a solid understanding of the position. Fourth, you'll want to ask about the expectations of the position. This will allow you to see how you'll be evaluated. Finally, you'll want to ask what the next steps are in the process. This is important so you know when to follow up. Once you have prepared, you're ready to go into the interview, which we will discuss next.